Okay, so we're going to wrap up our study of the normal distribution using Desmos to solve applied problems. This will be fairly simple. It's kind of neat how this works. Okay, what do we know that's going to come into play in this video? Well, we know what the normal distribution is, a graphical display of normal data in which the data tend to cluster around a central value called the mean, with fewer and fewer values occurring as you move away from the mean. So here is our mean, which of course is defined as the number each number in the data set would be if they were all the same. That's the mean. And we know that as we get away from the mean data value, there are fewer and fewer data values further and further away from the mean. The vast majority of data values occur very close to the mean in a normal distribution. The standard deviation is a measure of how spread out the data are. So in this distribution, here's a positive 1 standard deviation, so 1 standard deviation above the mean. Here's 2 and 3, and here's -1, -2, and -3. And as we've seen, if the data are not very spread out, this becomes kind of a very tall, thin bell curve. If the data are very spread out, this becomes kind of a low, fat, a low, wider bell curve, if you will, kind of a squattier bell curve. We also learned what a percentile is. The percentile is the value below which, the percentile is the percent below, so the value below which a percent of the data fall. Now we're going to use Desmos to do all this, and let's talk about how that's going to work. The Desmos feature we're going to use is called normal distribution. Desmos calls it the normal dist. And you can enter in the mean and the standard deviation, and you can find percentages. Desmos will do it for you. We're going to check the find cumulative probability box so we can enter in minimum and maximum values. If you want to use infinity or negative infinity, you type in the words infinity, or you type in the negative sign and infinity. You'll get the infinity symbols. And Desmos gives you the percent in decimal form. We want to remember that. Okay, so let's take a look at a problem. I think one example will do it for us to see how this works. The distribution of monthly charges for cell phone plans in the U.S. is approximately normal, with a mean of $62 and a standard deviation of $18. So this is a fairly spread out normal distribution. The average is $62, but you go 1 standard deviation up or down, and you've gone $18 to the left or to the right. Letter A, what percentage of the plans have charges that are less than $84? Letter B, what percentage of the plans have charges that are above $50? And letter C, what percentage of the plans fall between $35 and $75? Let's make a table to see what A looks like, or make a chart, and I've already got a chart here for you. Okay, let's recall it's a normal distribution, a bell shape. This is our mean. This is +1 standard deviation, +2, +3. And of course it goes further. There's just very little data above that. This is -1 standard deviation, -2 standard deviations, and -3. And of course it goes further to the left. There's just very little data to the left. Okay, now specifically for our example, the mean is 62. So we'll put $62 here. Our standard deviation is 18. So let's see, 62 plus 18 gets us to 80. Plus 18 gets us to 98. And plus 18, let's see, 98, 108 gives us to 116. Let's go down from 62. Minus 18 is 44. Minus 18 is, I think, 26. Minus 18, let's see, 26, 16, 6, I guess 8. $8. Okay, so what this is saying, hope that's correct. Let's see, 8 plus 16, 8 plus 18 is 26, yes. So what we know here is that under the curve is 100% of the price for data plans. We know that between $44 and $80, between -1 standard deviation and 1 standard deviation, is 68% of our plans. If we go out down to $26 and up to $98, 95% of cell phone plans will be between those two. And we know, of course, with our 68, 95, 99.7 rule, that 99.7% of cell phone plans, almost all of them, are $8 up to $116. Very, very few plans will be fewer than $8 and larger than $116. So let's see, we want to know the percent that are below 84. Well, here's 80. So I'm going to say that right here, approximately, and I'll draw that line a little bit, that's an $84 plan, just above 80. And so the question is, what percent are below $84? So we're looking for this area of the curve. Let's put this in Desmos and get the answer out. Desmos is great with this. So here we are with Desmos, and we're going to do some graphing here, obviously, and we're going to use the normal dist function. So in the space here where it says number 1, we get the cursor going, go into your functions in the bottom right, and let's press the functions, and this is going to be distribution, D-I-S-T, and you'll see underneath the distributions a normal dist, so press normal dist. You can also type it in. And notice it tells you to type in the mean, comma, the standard deviation. Well, our mean is 62, so I'll put in 62, comma, and our standard deviation is 18. So I'll type in 18. And this is our standard deviation. Now we need to kind of get our curve. This is kind of the home page. So we want to get to 62, which in my case is over here. And it probably helps to kind of collapse a little bit. Okay, so we're kind of coming into here. Whoops, I can't get, there we go. And remember, the area under the curve is equal to 100%, which is 1. So really, we only need to go from like 0 to 0.5 in the y direction. So we really need to kind of zoom in here to get a normal distribution. And there you go. So now we can get a sense of the normal distribution. Now notice, this is so flat that the top of this is just barely above 2/100ths, okay? So to get this, I really had to zoom in. Remember, everything underneath here is equal to 1. So you're only going to have maybe a 0.5 on your y-axis. You're not going to have much. So you're really going to have to zoom in on the y-axis. And I just put the x-axis, I'm looking for a mean of 62. Now we can probably hit that top part. And there's your mean of 62. Okay? So let's undo that. So we want to come over to here now, and we want to check the find cumulative probability. We've checked it, and it's telling us from -infinity to infinity is equal to 1, which is 100%. And here's the shading. Okay, and you can see it goes all the way further down to the left and all the way further down to the right. It doesn't stop, okay, but the vast majority is taking place where you see it here. Okay, well, we wanted to know less than $84. So 84 is our max. Okay, I want to know less than that. So I want to know from -infinity to 84. I'll type in 84. And look what it shows me. Here's 84. And that's the percentage shaded that is less than 84 all the way to -infinity. and the answer comes out to be 0.8892. Okay, we'll go 0.889. Okay, so this one says to me, Desmos comes out with, let's see here, letter A, less than 84 is equal to, Desmos says, 0.889 to the thousandths place. As a reminder, Desmos gives you, whoops, let me get this straightened out for you. As a reminder, Desmos gives you the decimal form, and this means we have 88.9% of the plans are less than $84. Desmos did the Desmos got us the line, Desmos did the shading, and Desmos did the math. Let's look at letter B. We want to know above $50. So letter B is greater than $50. Okay, let's go back to Desmos. Okay, so currently it's set up to go from negative infinity to 84. We want 50 to be our minimum because we want to be above 50. So I'll go into the minimum and I'll put 50 in here. I don't want to go to 84. I want anything above 50, so I'll go into here. I can either make this empty, it doesn't, or I can type in the word infinity, I-N-I-T-Y, and it puts in the infinity symbol. Either way, but you can see here now, here's 50. There's your line, and it's shaded in all the cell phone prices that are above $50, going all the way out above here to the right. And Desmos says 0.74, I'll round to the thousandths, 0.748. So 74.8% of the cell phone plans are above $50. Okay, and it's very nice how Desmos gives us a nice picture that shows us these things. Okay, so back to here. Above $50, Desmos gave us the decimal of 74.748. Again, I rounded to the thousandths. And so this will say that 74.8% of the plans have charges that are greater than 50. Okay, finally, letter C. What percentage of the plans are between 35 and 75? Okay, on this diagram, 35 is in here, 75 is in here, so we're looking at kind of a middle portion of the bell curve. Okay, between, whoops, let's letter C here. I want to know what is, well, greater than 35 and less than 75. So here is between 35 and 75. Back to Desmos. No math required. How about that? Okay, so I've got my curve, my mean, and my standard deviation. Let's go into here. I want a minimum of 35. So I'll type in 35 for the minimum. I want a maximum of 75. So I'll delete the infinity symbol and I'll type in 75. And Desmos says the area you're looking for under the curve is this portion between 35 and 75. Okay, that is what percentage of 100, or what part of that is out of 1? Well, it's 0.698 out of 1, or 69.8% out of 100% of the entire curve. Okay, so back to here. Okay, between $35 and $75, Desmos came up with 0.0698, rounded to the thousandth, which of course tells us that we have 69.8% of the cell phone plans, okay, of cell phone plans are between $35, whoops, not 37, $35 and $75. So there you have it. Desmos does a lot of neat things for us that makes solving these problems very simple, finding the percentages, etc., etc.